Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Eliza, and in today's video I'm going to be knitting a sweater in 24 hours. Maybe? It's Saturday morning. I have a very chill weekend, so I thought that this would be the perfect day or weekend to waste doing something silly like spending 24 hours knitting a sweater or more. I think more is maybe a little bit ambitious because although I've never sat and knit for 24 hours straight, nor have I timed myself for like 24 hours worth of knitting to see how much that is, I feel like it's unrealistic that I'll actually be able to knit a whole sweater in 24 hours. But also saying that right now, it seems like I should be able to knit a sweater, at least the one I'm planning on knitting in this video. We shall see. Who knows at this point. For this video, I'm gonna start my timer as soon as my phone charges and turns back on, and as soon as I start knitting. As I mentioned in my last Fuzzy Wuzzy knitting podcast, I have a new sweater that I'm working on releasing a pattern for. This I'm calling the Juniper Cardigan. It's unbuttoned right now. Let me button it so it looks better. But I did talk about this in the Fuzzy Wuzzy knitting podcast. I had some king fiber melted baby Surrey yarn that I wanted to make something light and airy with that I could wear potentially during the summer. I have designed a lace short sleeve seamless construction cardigan. In the pattern, I've also written it so you can knit it with long sleeves. It has like really simple instructions. Although my sample is short sleeve, you could totally make yours long sleeve. This is what it looks like. But the thing that happened when I knit this was I knit it and then I blocked it and then it grew a lot. It grew so much. So what I want to do today is I want to knit the smallest size in my pattern to see how it knits up, measure it, and then block it to see how much it grows. I'm also going to knit two gauge swatches, block one, don't block the other one, just so I can compare and like figure out how much this stitch grows. Because I don't think I was necessarily pulling it too much when it was wet. Usually I just get all the excess water out, lay it on a towel, and like I don't really mess with it that much. I just try to get it back into like its shape. But it grew so much. I've been kind of putting off actually knitting another one of these sweaters because I'm obsessed with knitting socks right now, and all I want to do is knit socks. So this is my 24 hours of free knitting that I'm giving myself, and we're gonna start with the Juniper Cardigan second sample. I have 2 balls. This might also be risky. I only have 2 of these cakes of melted baby Surrey, and I think that should be enough because this sweater that grew quite a lot used about 2 1/4, and and it's too big for me, so I'm trying to make one that's much smaller. So theoretically this should be enough, but we'll see. I think doing a gauge swatch, doing the 2 gauge swatches, or even just measuring your gauge swatch before you wet it and after you wet it to see how much it grows, I think that will help too. Because if I had done that and I had known it was gonna grow so much, I would have made a shorter body length, shorter sleeves. I wouldn't have like knit so much at the shoulders, you know, I would have used overall less yarn is what I'm trying to say. So I did just wake up and I went and got my coffee. My phone it's on now, so I'm going to set the timer. I'm gonna set a stopwatch. Also, I am gonna try to do this in 24 hours straight, but I do get really sleepy at night, like most people. So we're gonna take it step by step. Okay, I'm starting. I'm gonna knit for a while. I'm gonna make my swatches, I think, and probably cast on, and I don't know, I'm gonna do some stuff and I'll check in an hour or so, a couple hours. I just finished my swatch. I've decided that for now, I'm just gonna make one swatch because I don't really want to make another one. I'm sure I will at some point, but not right now. I also had started knitting the swatch with this yarn, and then I was like, no, you should save all of this yarn just in case. And I did have some extra of the other color since I only used 2 1/4-ish skeins and I had 3, so I just used some of that to make the swatch, and I'm following my pattern and like making edits to it as I go, so I'm actually finding that that's very helpful. I already found one mistake, which I corrected. Now I'm going to measure this dry and it's kind of a funny shape, but I don't think it matters. I mean, it's not a funny shape, it's a rectangle, it's not a square is what's making it a funny shape. But I'm just gonna measure the 4x4 inch gauge, and then I'm going to wet block it, wait a little while. I might measure it again when it's damp, but I'm gonna measure it before and after I block it so I can see how much it grows. And I'm gonna measure the 4x4 inch gauge as well as the swatch in its entirety, just so I can see like the scale and like how much the whole thing grows. I don't know, I just think it would be helpful to have the gauge and also just like this swatch as itself, because the more information the better, I find. So I have my handy dandy knitting journal notebook thingy, and I'm going to write down the measurements. This swatch was measuring 9 inches wide and 5.5 inches tall. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 stitches. It's kind of tricky to count the stitches in this lace pattern because there are holes. Okay, I have my measurements and my notes, and now I'm going to wet block this. Also, it's been an hour and a half into my challenge. While I wait for that to block, I'm going to cast on for my cardigan. So I'm going to cast on the smallest size. Right now I have 6 sizes in the pattern, and I usually just number them like 1 through 6, and then I'll put the measurements so you can just refer to the measurements to choose the size that you want to knit. I realized that like I thought that my pattern was almost done, but I hadn't actually written out some of the instructions for like the final steps. So I think this will actually be really helpful for like doing the final edits of the pattern. I'm gonna cast on with this yarn. This pattern uses 2 needle sizes, so needle size US 9, which is 5.5 millimeters, and then also US 11, which is 8 millimeters. The only thing about this pattern is I knit it flat, and then I knit the sleeves in the round. I have the pattern written out currently saying that you need 24 inches or longer circular needles in 5.5 millimeters and 8 millimeters because the body is knit flat, but the sleeves are knit in the round. So you need needles long enough to hold the body, and also needles that have a long enough wire. I like never know what to call this. I definitely go back and forth between calling it a wire and a cable, but you need needles with a long enough wire to do magic loop unless you have like double pointed needles in these sizes, because you will need to knit in the round for the sleeves, and the sleeves are not very big, you know, since it's just a sleeve, and since it's a lace pattern, it's really not that many stitches. So if you're gonna knit this, keep that in mind. I did my gauge swatch in my size US 11 needles, and now I'm gonna switch over to the US 9 and cast on for the body, which starts off from the bottom and works up. So I'm gonna start with the body rib. I almost wonder if I should make this even smaller. It's been 4 hours and 37-ish minutes. I have not gotten as much done as I thought I would have, although I'm also surprised it's only been 4.5 hours. It feels like it's been way longer. I had found a couple mistakes in my pattern, so I was like updating the pattern as I was knitting, but I just got through the rib and the first pattern repeat. I really like this color. I think it's so cute. It's kind of like, I don't know, it's so bright. And I like that it's a little stripey. It's like doing a little stripey thing. Yeah, I found a couple mistakes in my pattern, so I was stopping a lot to edit the pattern as I go. So by the time I'm done knitting this, the pattern is perfect and ready to be sent out to be tested. I'm just gonna keep knitting away for the rest of the day. Okay, I'm at about 6 hours and 52 minutes. I have not even gotten through the repeats to my underarm. I stopped the timer, so I keep stopping the timer when I'm like doing other things besides working on my knitting project. And my friend just texted me and told me that the Paramore concert that she was supposed to go to was canceled. So she's feeling sad and needs a friend to go to a bar with her. I'm going to pause my timer, take a break, go hang out with my friend since she's already dressed and ready to go to a concert that's not happening, and then I'll come back and probably continue working on this. It's probably good. I probably shouldn't stay inside all day and just knit and not do anything else. So this little break for human interaction will probably be beneficial to the video. But let me know what you think so far. I think this yarn is really pretty. I kind of like this yarn, like the colorway, more than the one I did the first sample in. They're definitely different. Like this is more of like a speckled, like sprinkles, funfetti vibes, whereas it's like a solid color with like lots of little colors all over. And this is like doing more of a striping thing, which is really cool, and I love these colors together. So I'm really excited. I'm probably after I do everything with the pattern and have it released, I'll probably end up unraveling this one since it was a little bit bigger than I wanted. So I'm glad that this one is coming out cool. I'm like really liking the colorway. Who knows? Maybe I won't unravel it. I don't know, but I don't know. Now I need to wash my face, brush my hair, change out of my pajamas, and go out into the world. I'll be back soon to continue knitting for another 17 hours.
12 seconds later.
I'm back. That didn't take as long as I thought it was going to take. I have put the timer back, or I keep calling it a timer. It's a stopwatch. I am going to put the stopwatch back on, and we're at about 7 hours right now, and I'm going to continue knitting the body of my sweater into the wee hours of the night. hopefully. First part of the body is done, and it's been 8.5 hours. That's crazy that this took me 8.5 hours. I did stop a lot. I was editing my pattern too. I did like snack a little bit. I also was like, you know, going to the bathroom, wandering around the apartment. But yeah, wow, that took a long time. I'm gonna start on the sleeves now, and then once I have my my little half sleeves, then I'm gonna work the body, and that's about it for the body. And then I'll just do the button band and it's done. But wow, I can't believe this took 8.5 hours. Was looking for a light so I could try to have better lighting for this video, and I don't have one. I did find this light that seems to have kind of a black light in it, and it's making the yarn on my sweater like glow. Check it out. I am filming a tutorial video about how to knit this sweater as I filmed this video, and I really want to have better lighting for that video. So since my body is finished, I need to do the 2 sleeves before I can do the hard part of the sweater, which is the raglan decreases. So what I'm gonna do, change of plans once again, I'm going to knit my first sleeve, and then I'm gonna stop the stopwatch, and then I will start it up again tomorrow when I have some beautiful natural lighting, because I don't think I'm gonna want to knit this sweater 3 times. I don't have that kind of yarn. I'm gonna knit my sleeve right now, and then we'll continue this in the morning, and then that means I can, or I guess I could knit other things. No, I think I really want to finish this sweater in the allotted time. So I'm gonna stop the stopwatch, and then when I start it again, we'll finish the sweater, and if there's any time left over, we can knit other things.
Tomorrow.
Good morning. It's the next day. It's a good thing I stopped last night because I realized I knit that sleeve incorrectly. So I will have to knit that sleeve again. I was getting confused because the pattern, let's go look. Okay, so I was getting confused because when you knit the body of this sweater, you knit it flat and then you knit the sleeves in the round. So the pattern is the same, but it changes in the way that you do it. And I have done this before. I literally knit a whole sweater, but last night when I was knitting, I was just like, I was like changing the pattern and thinking like, can I just knit all of these stitches because I'm knitting in the round now? And I think the answer is no, because like the pattern looks different in some places. Like it looks similar enough, but it also looks incorrect. Like, and I think part of it like shifted somehow, and I don't know if that's because I'm doing a tiny little thing on these and doing it in magic loop, and it's kind of pulling it, like, because I'm doing it with yarn overs and stuff, and there were a couple yarn overs that ended up in between the 2 needles. I'm gonna unravel it to the rib and then do the pattern over, and the pattern for the sleeve is pretty short for this sample, For this sample, I did 2 pattern repeats. The sleeve ended up being longer than I wanted. So it was like 2 pattern repeats, which is like maybe this much. Not very much at all. And then you get so much more sleeve when you bring it together and work your shoulders. So I'm trying to do less for this one just so I can see like how much I actually get, like primarily in the shoulders. So I'm just doing the rib portion and then 1 pattern repeat, which is only like 5 more rows from this. So it'll be just a little tiny sleeve. Also, last night I was doing some pattern math too. Oh, I haven't even started my timer yet. I just realized that I'll start it after this. Last night I was doing some more pattern math too, and I ended up spending, I think I was at like, I don't know, I don't remember the times. I think I was at like 8 hours or 8.5 hours. And then I was like, I'm just gonna knit a sleeve and then go to bed. And I spent like an hour and a half working on this sleeve because I was changing the stitch count from this one. This stitch count gave me a sleeve that was just a little bit bigger than I wanted, but I didn't use that many stitches to make this sleeve. So I decreased a full pattern repeat, and I have this teeny tiny little sleeve, and it fits around my arm like perfectly, at least the rib portion. The pattern portion in the larger needles is fine, but the rib is like, it's right around the circumference of my arm. It is gonna grow, so I'm trying to just like have faith in the growth of the sweater post blocking. So I still need to wash my face. I literally just got out of bed, put some clothes on, went and got a coffee, and I still need to wash my face because I can't stop looking at my face and how puffy it looks. Might have to give it a roll with the I like to put the jade roller in the fridge so it's nice and cold, and then I just like roll it all over my face. I don't know that the jade roller actually does anything, but it feels nice to rub. It's like rubbing an ice cube all over your face, but a little less extreme. Oh yeah, so I'm gonna do my morning stuff and then I'll start the timer again. I had stopped it last night at 10 hours, so we still have a lot of time left in this challenge, which is good because it's taking longer than I anticipated. Like everything, like literally everything. I think every time I make a video, I'm like, I gotta do this in a day, and it takes me like a month. So it's good we have quite a bit of time left. I'm also glad, well, yeah, like what I was saying, I'm glad that I went to bed last night because I would have ended up with a sweater with a bunch of mistakes, which is not good when you're trying to correct a pattern and make like a sample to promote your pattern. Like, you should knit this sweater. It's kind of gonna look like this, even though this one has a lot of mistakes. Not this one. This one's actually perfect. It's just not the right size. Body and the 2 sleeves, which look so teeny tiny right now. Yay! Look how teeny tiny the sleeves look. I really hope it looks better once it's blocked. This is so teeny tiny. Look how small it is compared to my hand. I still have my stopwatch stopped with 7 hours left on this challenge, and at this point I don't think it's even worth continuing with that timer because I stopped it. I unraveled the small portion of this, re-knit my sleeves, re-knit the body. That definitely took more than 7 hours, so I could like start it now, but is it even worth it at this point? I reknit the sleeves with the original stitch count from my first sample, and then I knit up the raglan seams, worked on writing the pattern in a way that you could understand what you need to do during that portion easily. I think it looks a little bit better now. It's still like a tiny little top, but that was what I wanted for this size. This is going to be the smallest size in the pattern. And the sleeves were just ridiculous before. And so at least now they're just like, they're more proportional to the sweater. I blocked it earlier in the video, and then I unraveled it, and I like unraveled the sleeves, and I had that ball of yarn that had been blocked, and then I had like the rest of my yarn, which had not been blocked. And it's crazy the difference, like this one was the blocked yarn and this is the unblocked yarn. Like it really takes away a lot of that beautiful fuzzy texture when you block it. I mean, it's not that bad, but like you can see in the clip right now that this one looks different than this one. This one's very fluffy still. I still like the yarn, but I just like was surprised at how like beautiful and spongy this one is, and like this one's still beautiful and spongy, it's just not as floofy. The next thing in the pattern is to do the double knit button band and then attach the buttons, and that is it. Oh, and also close up those little holes. And then the cardigan's done. So I could theoretically put the stopwatch back on and maybe do all of that in 7 hours. The double knit button bands take a long time. Like they take way longer than I would have thought that they would take. For example, if you pick up like 150 stitches, then you have to knit 300 because you're knitting everything twice. So I guess that's why it takes so long, but who would have thought it would take me like hours to knit 300 stitches? And like the button band is very small. It's only like 8 stitches, but I'm a slow knitter, as we know. The sample is finally finished. Woohoo! I did the button band. Look how pretty it is. I'm gonna block it again and then weave the ends, sew the buttons on, sew up the armpits, and it'll be done. And while it's blocking, I'm going to finish editing the pattern and grading it again with the notes that I have from this sample. And then it'll be ready for testing. Woohoo! I'm so excited. It's finally finished. Took way longer than 24 hours. Also, I haven't finished writing the pattern because I realized I don't have a scale, which I need to figure out the yardage. The pattern will be done by the time you're seeing this video. This is the finished cardigan. I ended up removing the 5th button on mine because it was a little higher than I liked for myself, so I just took it off and I will just use these 4 buttons here. This would be the extra small, but the pattern is written so I give you like the body width measurement and then you would knit the length to however long of a body that you would want. Same with the sleeves. You would knit the like first portion of the sleeve to however long you would want and then match it up with the underarm and continue. So really I'm just giving you like the circumference measurement of the sleeves and the circumference of the body, and then it's up to you to decide like how long you want it. If you want it more cropped like this one, or the first one I made, this one here, this one was much longer. On me at least, it hit like, I don't know, when it wasn't cropped. But I wear like high-rise pants all the time, so I like the shorter, I like the like cropped body length tops, so it kind of hits at the waistband of my pants. The tester call is now open on my Instagram, and there's also a link to the tester application in the description of this video. So if you're interested in testing this, go on down there and apply. I'll probably have the tester call up for about a week before I start picking testers for this, and then I'm hoping to have this released by like hopefully like mid-September, but you never know. Sometimes it takes longer. This video really went all over the place. Thanks for sticking with me if you made it to the end. Let me know what your thoughts on the sweater, and if you made it to the end of this video, comment either an orange, pink, or a blue heart. Even though this is like mint. Like it's like seafoam. Orange, pink, or blue heart in the comments. All right, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!